So let's go to the historical context. Okay. So like I said, you don't know history, and you're showing that. And you said it yourself, you don't know history. So you want to talk about, for example, that land. It's called the land of Canaan. The people who were living there were Canaanites, which are original Arabs, by the way. I don't know if you even know that or not. They were called Canaanites. By the way, this was before Abraham went there. There was no Isaac born yet. There was no Jacob. There was no 12 children. There was no Judah. None of these people. There was Canaanites living in that land, in what you would refer to as the Torah. God tells Abraham to go to that land. Okay? The land of Canaan, which is, you want to call present-day Palestine. Okay? It was called Canaan in the biblical language, if you want to use that specific. So the land of the Canaanites. So you cannot argue historically, because history doesn't help you. Even according to your book, history doesn't help you there. Okay? Now, the land has been Muslims living there, Jewish people living there, and Christians living there for thousands of years. So the argument, by the way, the argument, I just told you, the Canaanites were there before any Israelis were there, according to your own book.
Well, of the three, you said Jews, Christians.
Palestinians, Arab Palestinians are descendants from the Canaanites.
All right.
Elaine Betty says that in her book as a historian, for example, as a non-Muslim.
I mean, I believe you. I'm not even saying you're necessarily wrong. I just don't know what this has to do with a lot. But what I was bringing up over
you were saying who was there originally. I'm answering your question.
I didn't say who was there originally. I just said went into occupied Israel and killed a bunch of civilians.
So the argument, by the way, you're lying. You said who was there first, who was there originally. You asked one of these questions. So I responded.
You said of the Jews
by saying Canaanites, by saying Canaanites were there first in your own book, and then I said to you that the Palestinians are descendants of the Canaanites, so they are the indigenous people to the land historically. Now there was times where Jewish people came and took over power by murdering people, which is, by the way, is also in your book. Joshua going into the land and being commanded by God to murder infants and women and children, as they do today. There's nothing new happening, really. When they went into the land of Judea and we were slaughtering Canaanites, is the same exact thing, but happened historically. So if you want to talk about who is the indigenous people to the land, they are the Canaanites. And we know that Muslims and Palestinians are tracing back and are descendants from those Canaanites. So they are indigenous people to the land. Now, if we go back, we'll go back all the way to Abraham. We already established that. Now, we go to, like I said, now, going to 100 years or 200 years ago, before we go to the one you want to talk about, October the 7th, which it can easily talk about. I don't care about that. But it's about what? Talking about history first. So now in 1917, now already we know Palestine was under the Ottoman Empire, was a Muslim for over 1,000 years, with Muslims living there and under Muslim rule. And who was there? Muslims, Jews, and Christians. They were all living in prosperity. There's no such thing as mass murdering and massacring as is happening today to the Jewish people. You can ask any of the Jewish people living there, and they will tell you the same thing. You can ask any of the Jewish people who were there before 1917. They'll tell you the same thing. You can look at any historical record. Now, so we know that the Jewish people living there, Muslims living there, and Christians living there. I'm saying at 1917, what was the percentage of Jewish people in the land of Palestine, which was called Palestine, and it was only one land under one Islamic government? How many Jewish people would you say they were there?
I'm assuming not a lot.
Yeah, give a percentage, I guess.
15.
According to the UN numbers. 15, you're saying, 1-5.
Yeah.
There was 3% Jewish people living in that land. Okay?
And that makes sense.
So we have
Jews are a very small population of the world.
Yeah, exactly. So there is 3% of people living there. Now, you know the Balfour Declaration, and you know what happened. You know what happened?
Tell me. I want to hear what you think.
But I'm happy to enlighten you, but it really baffles me that you have very strong opinions. That's why I was telling you. You're watching Israeli media. If you can, I
don't watch any Israeli media. That's
but
you're
repeating the talking points. Talking points of human shields. That's all the talking points.
I haven't seen anyone prove me wrong though. So I know it's okay, but I just doing
it right now. So,
but okay. That's great. I got a nice history lesson, which is awesome. Okay.
No.
But I'm confused about what that has to do with anything I just said about.
Yeah, we're gonna come to that.
Okay.
About what?
I'm listening. So just keep explaining.
Okay. Yeah. So no, but me keeping explaining, I'm asking you questions to see what you know, so we can move on from it rather than me explaining it. So when I ask you about the Balfour Declaration, if you know what it is, I'm gonna skip over it, of course. So I'm only giving you a history lesson because you don't know the history. Like, that's the only reason I'm doing it. So you have the UK or the giving obviously it was in the UK at that time. You have the English or whatever giving the land of Palestine to the Jewish people. It was in their land. They gave it to them. They gave them a large parts of that land. They gave them the government authority. That was what the Balfour Declaration is, basically. That was what the Balfour Declaration is. Okay? So now, that was, when we're talking now 1948, we talk about the Balfour Declaration. Okay? So we're saying 1917, there was 3% Jewish people in the land. Now, from 1917 to 1948, and many people don't know the story, by the way, but how did they give that land to it wasn't under their control anyways. They were fighting against the Ottoman Empire.
Sorry,
the Arabs were there. Yeah, I'm just going to say this very, very quickly, and then you can say what you want to say. So the land was under the control of the Arabs. There was the Ottoman Empire. The English asked the Arabs to fight with them against the Ottoman empires. And they said, if you fight with us, we'll give you the land. They fought with them. And after the fall of the Ottoman Empire, they said, oh, no, we're actually not giving it to you. So they went and offered the likes of Theodore Herzl. Which one do you want? Do you want Portugal as your land? You want to give you a land to the Jewish people so they can say, that's what Zionism is, a land, making a land a home for the Jewish people.
I understand.
So they asked him, do you want Portugal or do you want Palestine? And then he was like, I want Palestine. So now they took the land, which they promised that the Arabs are going to keep, will help them and fought with them. They said, no, we're actually going to give it to those Jewish people. And then we have massive ships from all over Europe, because we know that the Crusades were hunting, Hitler was hunting, all of these things are happening. So they were all over Europe. So now we have these massive ships, which by the way is clear pictures of it. Anyone can Google it online. Massive ships of Jewish people mass migrating into a land that wasn't theirs, that they were not living there. They're already having generations in Poland, generations in Sweden, generations because they were living there for generations. Now all of those people are coming on ships and they're coming into the land of Palestine. So now from 1917 to 1948, we said there was 3%. What do you think the number was?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. No worries. Yeah, I can hear you. So I said from 1917 to 1948, when we have the Balfour Declaration, what is by the way, when those Jewish people were coming in before that Balfour Declaration, there was some of them coming. They were allowed. They were welcomed in by the Palestinians historically. They were given citizenships and IDs because they were saying, oh, we're fleeing from war. So you have Muslims being kind, opening their doors, allowing people who are saying we're refugees, running away from war, running away from persecution, come, welcome to our land. You welcome to our homes. Okay? So now, what was the percentage from 3%? What would you say the percentage was in 1948?
40.
Yeah, so it was 33%. Do you understand when a country moves from 3% to a third of the population of the country in a matter of 20, 30 years? Do you understand how insane that is?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Under one generation, you realize that one of every 3 people you meet are people that you've never seen before from a different race or a different place or a different country or whatever. Now, how did that happen? It happened the way I told you. They were allowed in. And then what happened from 1948 until today? We had, after 1948, we had the Nakba. Do you know what the Nakba is? Clearly don't know, right?
Okay, tell me.
Do you know?
You're the one who's
hundreds of thousands. I'm giving you a history lesson. It's just history. All of these are facts. By the way, what I'm telling you, it's not my sources. You can literally now go Google any of information I said, and you'll get it on the UN sources. You'll get it on any human rights organization source. None of what I'm saying is from Muslim media or Muslim, like some people listen to their own kind of bubble of news. So we have hundreds of thousands of people killed and displaced in the Nakba. Right. So after the land was given, all of that, then we have building settlements, and then a piece by piece, what was called Palestine starts becoming Israel. Piece by piece. Then we have in the end what we have today called Gaza, which is an open air prison where you have walls everywhere. Anyone who comes in without permission is shot. We have a sea with navy and armies, the most modern planes, the Iron Dome, all of that. Okay. Then we have continuous murder every year of women, children being treated not as human beings or citizens, being cut air, being cut food, being cut all of that. And we have that continuously happening from 1948, like I said, until today. And then you come and say people are dying on both sides. No. When you have this video circulating of a person saying, Jewish person saying, a settler taking someone's house, and they say, why are you taking my house? It's not your house, Jacob. He says, yes, this fat person. And then he says, yes, but if I don't steal it, someone else will.
You are stealing my house. And if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it.
I mean, like, imagine the level of shame you have to be as a human being to say something like this.